New languages, new perspectives. The Kotoba camp.
Isolate.
Isolate.
To separate someone or something from others. To extract a substance from a mixture.
隔离、使孤立、分离、提取。
Dr. Takahashi began his work to isolate and grow the virus in 1965 and in 1970 to begin clinical trials with a live, but weakened form of the virus. A new, isolated population of fruit flies is founded by a small group of colonists, who then diverge from the ancestral source population.
The researchers were able to isolate the specific gene responsible for the rare hereditary disorder after years of study.
In order to accurately measure the effect of the treatment, scientists had to isolate the experimental variable from all other potential influences.
When studying animal behavior, ethologists sometimes need to isolate individual specimens to observe their responses, without social interference.
Isolation.
Isolation.
The isolation of the rural community led to the development of unique cultural practices not found elsewhere. Isolated.
Isolated. Geographic isolation of populations can lead to speciation over time, as genetic differences accumulate.
Separate, segregate, detach, seclude.
分开、隔离、分离、隐居。
Connect, integrate, combine, unite.
连接、整合、结合、联合。
Isolated.
Isolated.
Far away from other places, buildings, or people, having minimal contact with others.
孤立的、与世隔绝的、偏远的、独立的。
Due to their isolated location, many island species have evolved unique traits not seen in mainland populations. Certain bird species remain isolated on remote islands, developing distinct characteristics over generations.
Ancient civilizations often thrived in isolated valleys, protected from external threats for centuries.
I believe that living in an isolated environment can sometimes foster creativity due to limited external influence.
The impact of geographic barriers often results in isolated communities, preserving their unique traditions over time.
Isolation.
Isolation.
The isolation of certain regions has preserved ancient languages that might otherwise have disappeared. Isolating.
Isolating. The isolating nature of mountain ranges can create distinct ecosystems on either side of the divide. Separate, detached, secluded, remote.
分开的、独立的、隐居的、偏远的。
Connected, integrated, linked, accessible.
连接的、整合的、联系的、可接近的。
Infant.
Infant.
A very young child or baby, typically under the age of 1, relating to or characteristic of infants or infancy.
婴儿、幼儿，与婴儿或婴儿期有关的。
The nutritional requirements of an infant are critical during the first year for proper growth and development. Cultural practices often dictate specific care routines for an infant during the early months.
Many developmental milestones are achieved by an infant within the first 12 months of life.
I believe that consistent caregiving is vital for an infant to build trust and emotional security.
Early interactions with an infant can shape their cognitive and social skills in profound ways over time.
Infancy.
Infancy.
The foundations of language acquisition are often laid during infancy through exposure to speech. Infantile.
Infantile. Some behaviors considered infantile, such as frequent crying, are natural responses to unmet needs. Baby, toddler, newborn, child.
婴儿、幼儿、新生儿、儿童。
Adult, grown up, mature, elder.
成人、成年人、成熟的长者。
Infection.
Infection.
The process of being infected by a disease-causing organism, a disease resulting from such a process.
感染，由感染引起的疾病。
Certain pathogens can cause severe infection if they penetrate the body's natural barriers like skin or mucous membranes. Poor sanitation often leads to widespread infection in densely populated areas.
Some infections remain dormant for years before manifesting noticeable symptoms.
I think understanding how infections spread is key to implementing effective public health strategies.
Measures like vaccination can significantly reduce the risk of infection in vulnerable populations.
Infectious.
Infectious.
Many airborne diseases are highly infectious and require strict isolation protocols. Infected.
Infected. Contaminated water sources often result in entire communities becoming infected with waterborne diseases. Disease, contamination, illness, contagion.
疾病、污染、病症、传染。
Health, wellness, purity, sterility.
健康、健康状态、纯净、无菌。
Inferior.
Inferior.
Of lower quality, rank, or status, not as good as something else. A person lower in rank or status.
较差的、次等的、地位较低的人。
Some materials are considered inferior when they fail to meet the required standards for durability and strength. Certain alloys are deemed inferior for construction due to their lack of resistance to corrosion.
Historical accounts sometimes portray defeated groups as inferior in cultural or intellectual capacity.
I believe that labeling any group as inferior often stems from bias rather than objective evidence.
Judging a product as inferior without thorough testing can lead to unfair market disadvantage.
Inferiority.
Inferiority.
Persistent feelings of inferiority can impact mental well-being and social interactions. Inferiorly.
Inferiorly. Some regions are inferiorly equipped to handle natural disasters due to limited resources. Substandard, second-rate, lesser, subordinate.
不合格的、二流的、较差的、从属的。
Superior, better, greater, dominant.
优越的、更好的、更大的、支配的。
Invade.
Invade.
To enter and occupy a place or country by force, to spread into and affect an area or organism harmfully.
入侵、侵略、蔓延、 侵害。
The reading passage posits that zebra mussels, an invasive species, pose a significant threat to freshwater fish populations due to their rapid spread and ability to invade new habitats. The passage asserts that the invasion of zebra mussels poses a serious threat to freshwater fish populations in North America for several reasons.
Controlled burns can prevent invasive plants from continuing to invade and dominate native ecosystems.
Cancer cells can invade surrounding tissues and spread to distant parts of the body through the bloodstream or lymphatic system.
Researchers discovered that certain bacteria can invade the cell walls of plants and alter their genetic structure.
Invasion. The invasion of non-native species has disrupted the ecological balance of the Great Lakes ecosystem. Invasive.
Invasive medical procedures should only be used when less invasive alternatives have been exhausted. Penetrate, infiltrate, encroach, intrude.
渗透、渗入、侵占、闯入。
Retreat, withdraw, recede, depart.
撤退、撤回、后退、离开。
Invasion. The act of entering and taking control of a place or area by force. The arrival and spread of something unwanted or harmful. To enter and take control of a place or area by force.
入侵、侵略、蔓延、扩散。
The zebra mussel is a prime example of an invasion made possible by human transportation, as ships help spread it from Eastern Europe to North American waterways. The reading claims that the invasion of this creature cannot be stopped and it would be a prominent danger to native ecosystems.
Native to Europe and Asia, cheatgrass is an invasive species of grass that is causing problems in North American fields by quickly dominating landscapes.
The lecturer believes that zebra mussels will dominate the new habitat at beginning, but then there will be new predators, like birds, that eat zebra mussels.
The history of the zebra mussel spread suggests that the invasion might be unstoppable once established in a new ecosystem.
Invasive. Invasive species like zebra mussels can rapidly alter aquatic ecosystems by filtering out nutrients that native species depend on. Invader.
The wheat in Kansas and cows in Texas are both examples of invaders that have become beneficial, rather than harmful to their new environments. Infiltration, encroachment, incursion, intrusion.
渗透、侵占、侵入、闯入。
Defense, retreat, withdrawal, protection.
防御、撤退、退出、保护。
Inviting. Attractive and tempting, appealing in a way that makes you want to participate. Asking someone to come or participate in something.
吸引人的、诱人的，邀请、请求参加。
The university's well-equipped laboratories and inviting research environment attract scholars from around the world. The professor created an inviting atmosphere that encouraged students to participate in class discussions.
The museum's new interactive exhibit on ancient civilizations is particularly inviting to young visitors.
The dean is inviting distinguished scholars to participate in the upcoming interdisciplinary conference on climate change.
The inviting layout of the ecological research station facilitated collaboration among scientists from different fields.
Invitation.
Invitation.
The anthropologist received an invitation to present her findings at the International Symposium on Cultural Evolution. Invitingly.
Invitingly. The library's reading room was invitingly arranged with comfortable seating and natural lighting. Appealing, attractive, welcoming, enticing.
吸引人的、有吸引力的、热情的、诱人的。
Repellent, uninviting, forbidding, unwelcoming.
令人厌恶的、不吸引人的、令人生畏的、不友好的。
Ivory.
Ivory.
A hard, white substance that forms the tusks of elephants. A creamy white color made of or resembling the substance from elephant tusks, having a creamy white color.
象牙，乳白色，由象牙制成的，乳白色的。
The goods included rare woods native to South Asia, as well as ivory from elephants, who were also typical inhabitants of South Asia. Ophir may have been a trading center where rare woods and ivory were first brought from South Asia before being transported elsewhere.
The international ban on ivory trade has helped reduce elephant poaching, but illegal trafficking continues to threaten elephant populations.
African elephants, which are endangered, are regularly hunted by armed poachers seeking valuable ivory tusks.
Archaeologists discovered ancient artifacts decorated with intricate ivory carvings that revealed sophisticated artistic techniques of past civilizations.
Ivoried.
Ivoried.
The museum's collection includes several ivoried musical instruments dating back to the 18th century. Ivory-like.
Ivory-like. The fossilized remains had an ivory-like quality that made them particularly valuable to collectors. Tusk, bone, alabaster, enamel.
獠牙、骨头、雪花石膏、珐琅。
Ebony, obsidian, jet, onyx.
乌木、黑曜石、美玉、缟玛瑙。
Jar.
Jar.
A cylindrical container, typically made of glass or pottery, with a wide mouth and often without handles to shake or vibrate harshly, to shock or surprise unpleasantly.
罐子、管、震动、冲击。
Archaeologists discovered several intact storage jars containing preserved grains at the ancient settlement site. The analysis of residue found inside ceramic jars revealed that the ancient civilization had developed techniques for fermenting beverages.
The distinctive decorative patterns on these storage jars help anthropologists identify specific cultural groups and their trading relationships.
The sudden noise jarred her concentration, causing her to lose track of the complex calculation she was performing.
The professor's controversial findings jarred with the established theories about pottery production in Mesopotamian societies.
Jarring.
Jarring.
The jarring contrast between ancient and modern architectural elements created a unique aesthetic in the museum's design. Jarful.
Jarful. The excavation team carefully collected a jarful of soil samples from each stratigraphic layer for laboratory analysis. Vessel, container, canister, receptacle.
容器、器皿、罐、容器。
sack, pouch, bag, packet.
袋子、小袋、包、小包。
Well done! Take a break and remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Let's keep our learning motivation fresh.
What we learn with pleasure, we never forget.